main part, the winter show. And it's going to be a little different than other years in that we will require your participation, your very active participation. And as you know, the title is the 12 Days of Winter. Needless to say, it's a play on words on the 12 Days of Christmas. So that's the song you'll all be singing. Now please know it's my least favorite song in the whole wide world, because as a piano player, it's a very annoying song to play with all the repetitions. So I will need your help singing, and I will try to stay at the same pace as you are. But anyway, you all have the full lyrics. Now, because the lyrics are different, because the winter celebrations are going to be are the focus of the lyrics of the song, we're just going to practice the first verse together, because the first verse is the most confusing, was at least the most confusing for the kids to sing. So I'm going to go behind the piano. Now, just so you know the order, we're not going to each time sing the whole song. As you'll see, we'll sing the first verse, and then one of the kids will say something. Then the next time around, we sing 2 verses, we stop. So it's really hard to stop because we're used to singing the song. So please follow my cue. When I stop playing, that means you stop singing, all right? And then we're all together. All right, let's practice the first verse, and CJ is going to help us. All right, so sing it once. First side, second side. Let me give a little intro.
That's a little bit of a tongue twister, I realize.
Let's try one more time.
On the first day of winter, we celebrate our love for all our diversity.
Ready, set, begin.
All right.
See, this would be the format. Now we're going to sing.
Around the world, different ethnic and religious groups use winter holidays to reaffirm their faith in light, love, and each other. We cherish the light, we honor the nourishing darkness, and we wait through the time that is for each. As Unitarian Universalists, we see each of these celebrations as important, and we try to learn from these lessons they teach.
According to the Zoroastrians, when people die, they are judged according to how good or evil they've been during their lives. If the good outweighs the bad, they are allowed to pass over a bridge and enter heaven. But if the bad deeds outweigh the good, they fall off the bridge and end up in hell instead. The holiday of Sadeh is a Zoroastrian celebration of fire and driving the cold winter away with the new light and warmth of spring. It is also a time of chasing away falsehood with the light of truth.
In the Shinto myth, Earth was created by Izanagi and his wife Izanami. Their children became the gods of nature. Izanami died when giving birth to the fire god. Izanagi tried in vain to bring his wife back from the land of the dead and then plunged into the sea to wash away his grief and the corruption of the underworld. As he washed, the sun goddess was born from his left eye, the moon goddess was born from his right eye, and the storm god was born from his nose. The Shinto celebrate Gansensai, which is the New Year celebration.
One of the most important holidays in the Christian faith is Christmas, which celebrates before Christmas are Advent and were historically a time of fasting and repentance to prepare our hearts to be ready to receive the Spirit of Christ. Christians light a candle for each Sunday in Advent.
The winter solstice, the shortest, darkest day of the year, marks the return of light and warmth as the days begin to grow longer from that day on. Yule comes from the Old Anglo-Saxon word Gil, meaning Yule. At Yuletide, the sun is caught at its lowest point in the sky. In the celebration of Yule, pagans remember rebirth, new growth, and the survival of light in the darkness.
Festival of Lights. Houses all over India twinkle with tiny lights from clay lamps called dye, which are lit to welcome the Hindu god Rama. On this day, thousands of years ago, Rama returned to reclaim his kingdom after 14 years of exile. People also light dye in hope that Lakshmi, the goddess of prosperity, will visit their homes. Diwali lasts for 2 days. Neighbors and friends visit each other bearing gifts of traditional Indian coconut candies and small sugar dish called patchi.
Celebrate the beauty of working together as one for the good of the community. The 7 principles of Kwanzaa are taken from the Swahili culture and are unity, self-determination, collective work and responsibility, cooperative economics, purpose, creativity, and faith.
Hanukkah lasts for 8 days and features an 8-branch candlestick, which Jews used to remind them of the miracle that happened when the Temple of Jerusalem was recaptured and cleansed more than 2,000 years ago. Many families exchange gifts during Hanukkah, either one small gift each day or one large gift on the first night.
Muslim calendar is Ramadan. The Muslim calendar is different from ours, and their holidays can take place at different times of the year, so Ramadan doesn't always come in the wintertime. Muslims fast during each day of Ramadan as a way to understand what it is like to be hungry and be sympathetic to those less fortunate than ourselves. Ramadan is also a time to be grateful for the gift of the Quran, the holy book of Islam. It ends with Eid al-Fitr, a holiday known as the Feast of Fast Breaking. For 3 nights, Muslims decorate their homes with lights and gather to share meals and gifts. It is a time to celebrate a renewed commitment to their faith.
hands and hard work, and share what they earn with the poor. You can love and serve God if you love and serve all the people created by God. Sikhs place great stress on the equality of human beings. Sikhs reaffirm these principles with the day of the Maki, a day when they remember the group of brave people who died to protect their spiritual teacher and leader.
Takes place on one of the longest, darkest nights of the winter. Santa Lucia is the patron saint of light and is honored by lighting a candle, eating lucas on buns, and singing carols. Young girls often wear a long white dress and a red sash, and a crown made of sprigs of ligonberry and candles. Ligonberries and evergreens symboling new life in the bleak winter.
Buddhists celebrate the Bodhi Day, which is when Prince Gautama took his place on the Bodhi tree. The 12 Buddhist teachings include Four Noble Truths and the 8-step path to a wiser and more compassionate life. The Four Noble Truths are: human life is full of suffering. The cause of suffering is greed. There is an end to suffering, and the way to the end of suffering is to follow the middle path. The 8 steps are: right understanding of the Buddhist teachings, right attitude, right speech, right action, right word, right effort, right mindfulness,